point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
The fact that I'm here with you every week in this medium is no accident. I love all things to do with the tube, and movies are a passion. And I can't lie, that is one of my favorite cinematic moments. But whatever Gordon Gekko might say, greed is not good, but then it doesn't follow that money is bad either. It's merely the means to an end. In the right hands, like a government with a plan. Put to the right use, like helping people with a better quality of life. Money can be a powerful tool for good. And it's what we want to focus on this Monday, as the government in office gets ready to tell us how much they will spend for the next year and why we'll all be better for their efforts. Don't move.
Sweet, sweet Jamaica, we not left ya. Chop yam and banana, we not left ya.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helcher fish and bami, we run down yam and banana, roast breadfruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
Sweet, sweet Jamaica, we not left ya.
Back with you. Now, before we get into the features on the lineup, let's head to the news desk to find out what's going on in the country. Carlin Brown-Thompson has that.
Good day, I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 31. China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, has been given the green light to determine the feasibility of damming the Bog Walk Gorge to support a water supply and hydroelectric power plant. On Friday, CHEC signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing to carry out the study. The dam, if built, would be able to store in excess of 1.9 billion gallons of water. That compares to the 800 million gallon capacity of the Mona Dam, which is the country's largest water facility.
It could significantly adjust our normal annual concern about water, potable water for the Kingston metropolitan region. And assuming the technical analysis goes well, it will certainly put that problem to bed for long in the foreseeable future.
Minister Davies says once the study indicates that the concept can work, the project will move to the implementation stage.
This project involves water for human consumption, water for irrigation purposes, and expansion of our capabilities in terms of renewable energy.
CEO of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Dennis Chung, says the country should not be worried about the shortfall in the primary surplus balance in January. The Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, recently reported that for the first time since government signed the 4-year extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund, the primary balance fell short of the budgeted figure in January. The January 2014 primary balance of $67.5 billion was 2% short of the $69.6 billion budgeted. Speaking on JIS TV's Issues and Answers program, the PSOJ CEO said government had the resolve to meet the target at the end of the financial year, as well as pass the 4th IMF review test.
I think they're going to meet it.
You're optimistic? You think they're going to meet it?
Because I think there's enough in the capital budget and enough that they've done on the supplemental budget to actually come in on targets and meet that.
The government's target is to get the primary surplus to 7.5% of the gross domestic product. The integration of private and state bus operations in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region takes effect on Tuesday, April 1. The goal is to provide a seamless service to the public and cut down on traveling time.
Currently, there are far too many seats available in the KMTR. And what this causes is unnecessary traffic congestion.
One of the most noticeable changes is the color coding of buses. As of April 8, all buses operating on routes sub-franchised by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company must bear the same yellow color as JUTC buses and have identifying stickers on the back and front windshields.
Any passenger in the KMTR who sees a yellow bus can be assured that that bus is licensed, insured, and operates to the standards expected in this reform going forward.
Drivers and conductors of sub-franchised vehicles are expected to wear uniforms prescribed by the Transport Authority. The private bus operators will be expected to issue tickets, charge the correct fares, and operate according to their routes.
As of April 1st, the laws governing the operation of minibuses will be rigidly enforced by the police, Transport Authority, JUTC revenue inspectors.
And finally, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has lauded the stellar performance of Jamaica's student athletes at the just concluded ISA Boys and Girls Championships. The Prime Minister, who was speaking with JIS News on the final day of the championships, said the students' performance was a testament to the spirit of the Jamaican people.
I'd like to commend the students themselves. Today, this afternoon, is a demonstration of the strength, the courage, and determination of our Jamaican people. And let me say that the amount of records that we heard, broken here this afternoon, we say to the rest of the world, look out, Jamaica is coming.
Minister Natalie Nita Headley also lauded the performances, even as she made it known that the government was carrying out major initiatives to support the development of student athletes.
We want to ensure that there's going to be sustainability. And so as a government, we have passed a national sports policy here for Jamaica, which will guide the development of sports going forward for the next 10 years.
Calabar High and Edwin Allen captured the boys and girls titles at the championship. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson. Thanks for watching.
The 2014-2015 fiscal year is almost here. Catch the ceremonial opening of Parliament on April 3 as Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen outlines government's plans for the new legislative year. The estimates of expenditure will also be tabled on April 3. Come April 8 to 10, the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament will consider the estimates. Tune in as the Finance Minister opens the budget debate on April 17. Dr. Peter Phillips will be followed by the Opposition Spokesman on Finance on April 22 and Government and Opposition members on April 23. The Opposition Leader will make his contribution on April 24 and the Prime Minister makes her presentation on April 29. The budget debate will close on April 30 with the Finance Minister. It's the 2014-2015 budget debate. Stay informed and keep watching Jamaica Magazine.
So we've given you the schedule for this year's budget debate. We encourage you to watch. Thing is, the budget debate is not a tool for members of parliament to grandstand in the nation's legislature, and it wasn't designed to ensure media outlets have a rich news cycle. It's government accounting for the job it did on your behalf in the last financial year and reporting to you about the job it intends to do in the next year. So don't be daunted by the fantastic sums of money and cryptic sounding economic terms. When the Governor-General delivers his throne speech on Thursday, listen. When Finance Minister Peter Phillips makes his budget presentation on the 17th, pay attention and maintain that vigilance for every speaker that follows. And when you're done, feel free to catch up on the latest episode of Jamaica Magazine. You're likely to find answers to any question that may arise from the debates. In the meantime, let's open the Prime Minister's agenda for the week just ended and see how she has been spending the days leading up to the new fiscal year.
Prime Minister calls on private sector to invest more in Jamaica. Wellness resort and spa to boost medical tourism. Prime Minister chairs first meeting of National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission. And
we say to the rest of the world, look out, Jamaica is coming.
High praises for students who participated in the 2014 staging of the Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Samantha Allen. With Jamaica's economy showing signs of improvement, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is calling on the private sector to invest more in the country. The economy recorded 1.4% growth in the October to December quarter, and under its economic reform program, government has been cutting expenditure while reforming systems like tax administration and revenue collection.
The Jamaican people are expecting that, after all their sacrifices, the private sector, including the small and medium-sized enterprises, will invest and create jobs.
And as the Prime Minister urged businesses to do more, she lauded one local investor for a $550 million project.
The opening of the Eden Gardens Wellness Resort and Spa represents the triumph of Jamaican entrepreneurship and resourcefulness.
Local scientist and entrepreneur Professor Henry Lowe is responsible for the new establishment at 39 Lady Musgrave Road. The Eden Gardens Wellness Resort and Spa, which was reopened last Tuesday, will help Jamaica to tap into the $40 billion global medical tourism market.
It has been estimated that Jamaica has the potential to attract over 20,000 wellness tourists to our spas, generating over $42 million annually.
The Prime Minister has broken ground for the construction of 32 housing units under Phase 1A of the Majesty Gardens Housing Development Project in Kingston. The units are being built by the National Housing Trust under the Community Renewal Program being spearheaded by the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
This 32-unit development will be a new model for NHT inner city housing. There will be a single-story starter unit with room for expansion. Beneficiaries of these units will also be provided with designs free of cost to accommodate the expansion.
The project should also provide jobs for residents.
Young people are trained under the Youth Build program will be employed during the construction phase. Some $11 million will be spent on labor.
Under Phase 1 of the project, 48 strata units built at a cost of $172 million were handed over to Majesty Gardens residents in December last year. With much emphasis being placed on making money from Brand Jamaica, stakeholders are coming together to develop and implement strategies to leverage the brand. Last Tuesday, the Prime Minister hosted the first meeting of the National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission.
This should be a very important part of our national development, and so I feel that if we could get together and you all could come up with the kind of discussion and the suggestions that government should adopt.
The National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission has been mandated to develop a national cultural and creative industries policy and master plan to further develop the industry. Jamaicans are being urged not to put up with any form of gender-based violence. The call came from Minister without portfolio with responsibility for information, Senator Sandria Faulkner, at the recent Caribbean Conference on Domestic Violence and Gender Equality.
We have, as a society, to put aside this notion that what occurs within the four walls of any home must remain there and that it is their private business, nobody else's. Such an attitude is wrong, and it will only result in the continuation of violence and abuse.
The conference was held at the Montego Bay Convention Center under the theme Breaking the Silence. And finally, the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita-Headley, have praised the outstanding performances of students at this year's staging of the Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. Calabar High won the Boys Championship with 305 points, while Edwin Allen got 337.5 points to cup the girls' title.
This afternoon, we say to the rest of the world, look out, Jamaica is coming.
Another exciting year of champs. We continue to see the kind of developmental process taking place in sports in Jamaica. The coaches and the administrators, and certainly those of whom are involved in supporting the athletes, have continued to give the kind of support that is required to take them over the hump.
And that's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Samantha Allen. Join us next week for the latest from the office of the Prime Minister.
Thanks, Sam. We're going to take a quick break, but don't move. We'll be back with more Money Matters as Andrea Chisholm continues our GOJ ERP series with a look at the fiscal responsibility framework.
$20 more, but I get to work on time.
$20 more, but the ride is safe.
And the journey is calm, nice and cool.
$20 more, I use my new Smarter card and that's it.
I use my new Smarter card and I don't pay anything extra.
That's mine.
That's mine.
That's mine. That's our improved JUTC experience.
Travel with the JUTC. Take the ride, enjoy the experience. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, your route to excellence.
Government has been acting on plans to promote financial responsibility in all areas of the public sector through its economic reform program. As a first step, the Public Debt Management Act, which was passed in November 2012, outlined a framework within which decisions would be made on the management of debt. Later, in March 2014, both houses of Parliament passed fiscal rules legislation,
which sets expenditure limits, revenue limits, deficit targets, and debt limits.
This will then ensure that the budget is sustainable and that the government does not spend more than it's pulling in from revenues and grants. 2 acts were amended to make the legislation possible: the Fiscal Administration and Audit Act and the Public Bodies Management Accountability Act. The fiscal rule, which is subject to parliamentary approval, includes an escape clause that will be dependent on adverse shocks like natural disasters. It also includes an automatic correction mechanism
that will allow for any deviations to be addressed in a systematic manner, with specified adjustment levels relative to whether the deviations exceed either the lower threshold of 1.5% of GDP or the upper threshold of 3.5% of GDP.
In the meantime, government is continuing the process of a fiscal consolidation to ensure that Jamaica continues to reduce its debt.
High levels of debt eliminate a capital budget, which is essential for growth. High levels of debt become a deterrent to investment, both domestic and foreign.
And so, by the end of the fiscal year, Jamaica's debt to gross domestic product (GDP) ratio will come down from 147 to 139%. Jamaica would then owe $1.39 for every dollar of goods produced. The goal is to have a debt to GDP ratio of between 95 and 100% by 2020, and by 2025-2026, 60%. As part of the fiscal responsibility framework under the Economic Reform Program, government also completed the rollout of a Central Treasury Management System, CTMS. The CTMS is used to manage, among other things, government's cash and bank accounts as well as public debt. About 37 sites have been incorporated into the system, which is resulting in substantial savings to the consolidated fund.
All those sites are now online, and the government of Jamaica is not holding those balances any longer in the private financial institutions and borrowing the money at great cost to us.
Improving efficiency and saving through public sector transformation is also critical to the fiscal responsibility regime. So an agreement was reached with a number of trade unions to provide public sector workers with several benefits in lieu of salary increases between April 2012 and March 2015. 3,000 vacant posts were also removed from the civil service through the Civil Service Establishment Order 2012 resolution. Meanwhile, pension reform, which involves public sector workers contributing to their pensions, should be implemented by April 2016.
public officers must improve their skills in public procurement, and at the same time, this system must be improved.
Government's public procurement system will therefore be revamped to achieve greater levels of transparency, equity, and efficiency. The corporate governance framework and the public-private partnerships privatization policy, meanwhile, are addressing weaknesses in public bodies. The government of Jamaica is continuing the mission of economic transformation under its economic reform program, promoting fiscal responsibility through legislation while improving the efficiency of the public sector.
Bamboo growers, companies involved in the manufacturing of bamboo products. Get registered with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ is a member of the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan, and the government of Jamaica wants to develop a standard-led bamboo industry that could lead to job creation and economic growth. Companies, your products could be stamped with the regionally recognized Jamaica-Made Mark certification and the National Certification Mark. Get registered and receive quality training and international certification. For more information, call the Bureau's Special Projects Department at 926-3140 or visit the BSJ at 6 Winchester Road, Kingston 10.
So earlier I encouraged you to actively follow the national budget debate. But you know, there's more to the process that begins Thursday morning, and it's not all to do with money. Tune in early and you'll see men and women of the Jamaica Defence Force putting on a grand show. Pay attention to what they'll be wearing. Keep our next feature in mind and enjoy colors like you may not have done before.
In ancient societies the world over, colors have been used by armies in battles to symbolize various units or signal a point of reference. This tradition has been passed down in different forms to many generations. In Jamaica, the ceremonial functions of the military partly involve aspects of this color system. A color is the official flag of a military unit. A relic of British traditions, colors form an important part of the ceremonial activities carried out by the Jamaica Defence Force. The Jamaica Defence Force has 3 regiments or divisions, the 1st, 2nd and 3rd Battalion's Jamaica Regiment. Each regiment has a specific colour assigned to it along with the Queen's colour. The background colour for the 1st Battalion is royal blue.
For the 2nd Battalion, that background would be maroon, and for the 3rd Battalion, that background would be green.
The colour that resembles the Jamaican flag is known as the Queen's colour, symbolising the monarch as Jamaica's head of state.
The Queen's colour is the senior colour, and it has on it the St. Edward crown, and it will have the Jamaica Regiment, and in the centre you'll have whatsoever battalion that is from, in numeral either 1, 2 or 3. The colours are the pride and joy of the regiment.
Let's take a look at some of the features of the colours for the 1st Battalion Jamaica Regiment. In addition to the royal blue background, the regimental colour for the 1st Battalion has gold thread, a wooden pike, a brass tip on the pike, and a tassel. One of its features is the St. Edward's crown, a British crown jewel. Another symbol on the regimental colour is the crocodile.
The crocodile is a prominent element in the coat of arms of Jamaica. It's indigenous to Jamaica and represents the strength and aggression required of an armed force.
The motto for the 1st Battalion Jamaica Regiment, Forward, indicates the unit's determination, resilience and drive for advancement in all things. The floral wreath is also a component of the regimental colour of the 1st Battalion. The wreath has 3 plants or flowers, the Tudor rose, shamrock and the thistle. The Tudor rose, sometimes called the English rose, has 5 petals of pink, red and white. Its symbolism, the battalion's link with the British units of the past. The shamrock, which is an Irish Christian symbol of the Holy Trinity, demonstrates that the unit believes in God and Christian values. The thistle, which has sharp prickles, represents nobility. The 2nd and the 3rd Battalion's Jamaica Regiment also have wreaths with different plants or flowers.
Whenever the colors move with escorts. With those escorts, they are a conducting warrant officer for the color party and 2 senior non-commissioned officers that escort the colors and a color sergeant that stand between both colors when they are in parade.
Now, before the colors are put to use, they have to be consecrated. The Governor General, as a representative of the monarch, usually presents the colors to a unit if no royalty is present. And when the colors get old or retired, the Garrison Church of the Ascension at Up Park Camp provides a safe haven.
When it is retired, it is not just thrown away. It is laid up, and that's another parade that is done. In the Jamaica Defense Force, it is in this church that the whole colors are laid up. And that's a whole ceremonial parade by itself, because there are certain procedures that we go by in laying up the colors.
So the next time you see the Jamaica Defense Force carrying out its ceremonial responsibilities, take a look at the colors and remember the profound meanings of the various symbols. It's more than just a piece of cloth. It's the pride and joy of whichever unit it represents.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsom. Today we explore issues related to investments, and joining me is Sonia Nicholson, Senior Director of Securities with the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Sonia.
Thank you, Nadine.
Sonia, what is a client statement?
Nadine, a client statement is essentially a report from an entity detailing the client's investment with that entity. It can be regarded as a statement of account.
And what is required on a client statement?
A client statement, by law, is required to detail the type of investment the client has with that entity, the debit or the credit balance that may be on the client statement, and also a statement indicating whether the funds are held for safekeeping or in segregation.
How often should investors receive client statements from their securities dealers?
Once there's a credit or a debit balance or securities held on behalf of clients, the securities dealer should send statements to the client at the end of each month once there's a transaction during the month. If there's no activity, then the client statement should be sent once every 3 months at the very least.
Thank you, Sonia. My guest today was Sonia Nicholson, Senior Director of Securities at the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
Time has been spent in full for this program. If you missed anything and you're not averse to the cyber world, visit our website. The link is below. Our social media portals are also coming up. Use those to sound off about our programs. Or if writing is more your style, send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. I'm Adrian Atkinson. This has been Jamaica Magazine. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.